Good morning, traders. Today is the 14th of August. This is Brad Matheny. This is the Plan Your Trade video. We are looking at a rally day in the SPY cycle patterns. We are looking at a carryover mode trending. We are in accumulation with explosive price action and long-term trending bearish. We have a daily bias bullish, a weekly bias bearish, and that puts us in a very interesting type of scenario, especially after the big breakaway yesterday. So, going to get in here and eliminate some of these lines. Probably should have done this a little earlier, but you guys understand I draw these things perpetually. And I just want you guys to have the cleanest opportunity here to see what's actually going on. So, where we're at with this move is, and this is again what I think is most likely going to happen. We'll keep that. We'll keep that. We'll keep that. Okay. So we're in a rally phase. We've had this big, bold move up yesterday, big, solid reversion. We filled this gap. The reality of the situation is that I believe this gap low right here, or actually call it gap high, is probably going to be a contender for price to roll back into. I believe that today we could see price roll a little bit downward into the 540 area, consolidate after this big move, maybe down into the 539 area, trying to build support for this base after this big move, this big breakaway move yesterday. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying I can see it happening. I can see it as likely. We come in here, the 10-minute chart, and we're going to see my lines and levels drawn right here. This is the blue line that I just drew. You can see this big upward movement. And again, if we come in here and we take a look at what's actually happening, I really think the 544, 545 area could be another level of resistance. You can see that I've drawn that back over here. Try to get this positioned. You can see I've drawn a 544, 545 area here. And again, I will highlight this and move this a little higher. 544, 545 area, basically. And this is where I think we're gonna stay. I think the rally phase is gonna stay in this area, maybe up to 546 and come back down. I think we're gonna be in that area today. And of course, I've drawn it a little too long, but something like that. And I think that's a very reasonable potential outcome. I think that we are going to be looking at a moderate rally here, maybe up 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Don't know for sure. A rally could break above this level and shoot up into the 546, 547 area. But I do believe we're going to run into some resistance right around this 544, 545 area. And I think that's going to be the area for everybody to watch. So in reality, you're going to be watching this area, 539, 540 in the morning, and then you're going to be watching the 544, 545 area potentially as a resistance area before we attempt to move higher. Now, ultimately, if we come in here and we take a look, the vortex rally base that I'm telling you has likely been set up has probably already rolled us into a fairly solid basing pattern. This breakdown mode is not likely at the moment. That's this defense level down here, 523. We needed to defend this level, which price did. It moved higher. We are taking out highs, which is new highs. Nice to see, breaking above this gap. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, this is the area we're going to be coming towards, the 553, 555 area. But we do have this intermediate resistance right here which is the 618 level of this broader downward pullback. So I would urge traders to be cautious around the 545 area, potentially running into some resistance before trying to get a little higher. Okay, so there we go on the SPY. Basic same type of scenario here. We have some resistance right in this area on the QQQ. That's going to be 466, 467. Then we're going to probably get up into this area here. So again, I would urge you to watch the 462, 463 area and the 466, 467 area as key levels today related to where price might find support and where price may find resistance. Okay, let's come over here to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is really rolling beautifully into my flagging formation here. You can just see this move, A, B, rolling up potentially to C, D, and then rolling out into E. So at this point, we're looking for a move potentially up into 62,700, maybe 63,000, pretty much right up into this area. That's going to give us our peaking pattern. Then we'll likely roll back down into the 6150 area, and then we're off to the races with an upward trend. You can see how this is playing out beautifully. This rotation, the flagging setup. We'll see if it holds up, and if this line is correct. This was just drawn as a guess out here in the future. We'll see if it holds up, and we'll see what happens if we get into any type of extended sideways flagging over here, which, I mean, I've drawn this, but in theory, we could come up, could hit here, could move into a flagging formation here and come out of this mode here. So be aware that we still have a bit of work here, but, you know, from where we're at, 61,300 roughly, up to 63,000, call it 63, you're going to have about an $1,800 plus side move here potential in Bitcoin. Looks very positive. Okay, let's go take a look at gold. As I mentioned to everyone, gold was going to move in two legs. And yep, I got a lot of drawing on here again, but that's fine. We are looking at this second leg here. Okay, so what we're seeing is we've seen a rally, we've seen a bit of a pause. We could see it move downward, although right now the post collapse, let's call it the Kamala shakeout or the Bank of Japan shot across the bow, we could very easily see a relief rally, I'll call it, up into this 2560, 2570 area, meaning this pause that I've been telling everyone's going to be a pause before the second leg could be very tiny and very short. We're already up $5 today in gold. We could have a very solid rally. I am just going to warn you, though, that I believe that, you know, gold, before it makes the other move, has to have a decent little break here. Now, this one bar, let's go take a look at the 10-minute, see if we have any real confirmation of a roll downward, which would constitute the 13, 14 thing. Well, we do have a series of lower highs. So you can see here a lower high level here, a lower high level here. We do have this rolling base and then failure right here. Very clean. And remember, by watching what I'm doing, I expect you guys to be able to pick this up a bit. Okay. So really, if you look here, folks, come down to this lowest level right about there. You can see how we touch these lower levels here. retouched it here. This is called rejection and confirmation of this level. Then you can see how we came right back here, got below it, new lower low, and then rejected, rejected, rejected. Look at how cleanly that rejection was. Just super clean right in this level. Let me make sure I've got it right off the low. There we go. Look at how clean that rejection was. Just beautiful. Rejection, 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 forming a base, rejection, rally, 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 rally. Okay, at this point, this looks like a pretty good double bottoming formation here. So I'm going to call it a double bottoming formation. I'm going to get rid of these. These are important, but they are important from a downward trend standpoint. We would look at the rejection point here across these rejection points to try to get some sort of a breakout. We do have that breakout taking place already to the upside. Looks to me like we're, oh, no, I don't want to create an alert. Looks like we're already in that rally phase, folks. Looks like we're already in that new channel, moving higher. And the next big move here is going to be to get above this previous high coming right across here. It's basically 25.16, 25.17. Once we get above 25.15, 25.16, 25.17, I think we're going to be off to the races, and 25.50 is going to be very close. Okay, let's take a look at IWM. Again, 10-minute, we're outside the range. We've reached our flag. This is actually a pretty good setup here off of this low. So you can see the flagging formation that I drew, this blue flagging. And you can see here that we have come to an A, B, C, D, and now we're rolling out as an E pattern. Very solid move, very clean structure. And again, we needed to avoid this breakdown, this shakeout breakdown area below this level. I would say that IWM is looking very solid in an attempt here to, we've already filled that gap. We're probably going to move up into the 510 or 210, 212 area, maybe 213, 214 area, but I doubt we'll fill the gap today. This looks very positive though in the Russell. It looks like, like I said, if I were to suspect, we'd stay above this 207.24 area and possibly try to target right up in this area, 210, maybe up into this area, 212. And that looks like a pretty solid upward breakout move. We're going to run into some resistance eventually back at this lower gap area here, or let's call it the upper gap area here. So this area here will run into resistance. That's 215, 216. But for right now, we're getting a good solid move, getting a nice solid breakout of the flag. It's a beautiful move back into trending. Remember, we exited flagging. Now we're moving into trending. It makes sense that, come back here to 30-minute. It makes sense that we're going to see this trending mode try to move back up into this upper channel. And I can draw these clearer. Get my little line tool. We'll come across the lows. Rejection, rejection. I'd rather be here, but let's be here to be clean. And Control C, Control V. Move this back up to this upper channel. And there you go. So there's our channeling. We're likely going to move right back up to this 212 area that I told you. That's going to be a pretty good move. That's going to be a 7, 8. That's going to be about a $4 move. That'll be almost 2% on the Russell. And it looks like we're going to come right up into this area right here and just stall back out. before we attempt to rally a bit further. And again, I think the markets are really setting up a good solid base for the vortex rally. So remember, I talked to you guys about this, how the markets are setting up, how we're moving into this channel. You can see this deeper channel here, all these crazy lines that I've drawn, guys. There's a reason. There's a reason I do all this, and it's pretty much to determine where we're at, what we're likely to do, and what's likely to happen in the future. So right now, we're talking about this 212 area. Then if we continue to move higher, we will start talking about these upper levels and potentially reaching up here to new highs, which could very well happen before the end of this year if the vortex rally and the setup that I predict continues to play out. Okay, let's go back to the SPY. And again, we're 542.28, a little bit higher today. Like I said, be prepared for a little rotation in the early market trending. But I think we resolve back into a rally phase throughout today. And remember, we go into that counter trending mode tomorrow, right here, counter trending in carryover, which means that whatever we see today may roll into a moderate counter trend mode tomorrow. Okay, that's it for now, guys. Talk to you later.